The world knew Cardi B for her stage presence, her platinum records, her millions of followers. But on that freezing January night in 2019, walking through the streets of the Bronx, nobody recognized her. A mask, a plain coat, a wig. In her hands, hundreds of winter jackets and blankets. And one mission: to help quietly, without cameras, without social media posts. But what happened that night wasn't just a charity operation. An encounter with a homeless woman would shatter Cardi's heart and set her on a journey that would take her, years later, to the other side of the world, to Africa. 2 continents, 2 stories, 1 heart, and in the end, a promise. January 2019, the Bronx, New York. It was 10 p.m. The temperature had dropped to 18 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind cut through the Bronx streets like a knife. Cardi B had just attended the Billboard Music Awards that evening, performed on stage, collected her applause. But at the end of the night, she didn't direct her limousine home. She directed it to the Bronx, to her old neighborhood. Her team wasn't with her, just her head of security, Jerome, and her cousin, Tasha. In the trunk of the car, 200 winter coats, 150 blankets, and hundreds of hygiene kits. Cardi knew she'd be recognized instantly. So the plan was simple. Mask up, wear a plain black puffer jacket, pull her hair back, and throw on a wig. Look like any other Bronx woman. If people recognized her, it would hit social media, and this would look like a PR stunt. But that wasn't what Cardi wanted. "This ain't about me," she'd told Tasha in the car. "This is about them getting through one night warm." First stop, under the old subway station on Jerome Avenue. She knew that every night, at least 15 to 20 homeless people sheltered there, because years ago, she had lived there herself. It was 2013. Cardi was only 21. She'd escaped a violent relationship, couldn't stay at her mother's place, had no money. For 2 weeks, she slept under that station. Cold nights, hunger, fear. And there was a woman, elderly, black, with trembling hands. Cardi never learned her name. That woman had shared her blanket with Cardi. "You're young. You got a longer road ahead," the woman had said. "I've lived my life. You're just starting yours." That night, under that shared blanket, Cardi made herself a promise. "One day, when someone helped me, I'm coming back here." And now, 6 years later, she was back. When they arrived under the subway station, it was dark and silent. In the distance, a few figures were visible. Cardboard boxes, piles of blankets, people trying to sleep quietly. Cardi approached slowly. The first person she saw was a young man, maybe in his 30s, holding an empty coffee cup. Cardi leaned toward him, and her voice came out shaky. "Excuse me, sir. I have some coats, blankets. Would you like one?" The man looked up. His eyes were tired, but filled with surprise. You serious?" Cardi smiled. "Yeah. Pick one." The man selected a thick winter coat from the pile in her arms and wrapped it around himself. Then he looked into Cardi's eyes. "God bless you, whoever you are." Cardi's eyes filled with tears. But she kept going. The next person was an elderly man, then a young couple, then a mother with a small child. For each one, Cardi repeated the same words. "Would you like a coat, a blanket, some hygiene kits?" And then she saw her. In the corner, inside a cardboard box, a trembling woman. Her hair was white, her face lined with wrinkles. She had no blanket, just a thin jacket on her back. Cardi approached and knelt down. "Ma'am, can I give you a coat?" The woman looked up, and Cardi's world stopped. The woman's eyes, those eyes, they were the same eyes, the same expression, the same exhaustion, the same defeat. "You," the woman whispered. "You got kind eyes." Cardi's tears fell. She couldn't speak. She just handed over a thick blanket and a coat. The woman took them and pressed them to her chest. "Thank you, baby. God knows I needed this." Cardi stayed there, on her knees, crying. Jerome came over and touched her shoulder. "Cardi, we gotta go." But Cardi couldn't move, because in that moment, she remembered that night in 2013. She remembered that woman. And now, she was looking at another woman, but with the same story. "This ain't over," Cardi said, standing up. "This never gonna be over." On the drive back, Cardi was silent. Tasha looked at her. "You okay?" Cardi shook her head. I saw myself. I saw who I could have been." When she got home, she couldn't sleep. Kulture was still a baby, sleeping beside her. Cardi watched her daughter. She thought, "This child will never know what it's like to sleep in the cold. But right now, out there, thousands of kids do. And all I'm doing is giving out coats. That's not enough." The next morning, she called her manager. "I want to start a foundation. I want to do this right. Not just blankets. Real help." Her manager hesitated. "Cardi, you know how much work that is? Legal stuff, team, budget. I don't care. I'm doing this." But first, she needed to do something else, something personal. December 2021, Lagos, Nigeria. Cardi B was in the busiest phase of her music career, album production, concerts, collaborations. But she paused everything for a week and flew to Africa. Official reason, collaboration with Afrobeats artists. Real reason, a promise. After that night in 2019, Cardi had started researching homelessness and child poverty worldwide. And one statistic caught her eye. In Africa, there were over 50 million orphaned children. Wars, diseases, poverty. And in many countries, government support was almost non-existent. Cardi found an orphanage on Instagram, Hope for Tomorrow Orphanage. Lagos, Nigeria. Small, little known, under-supported. 120 children, insufficient food, water problems. Cardi reached out privately. "I want to visit. No cameras, no press, just me." The orphanage director was shocked. "You, Cardi B? You want to come here?" "Yes. And I want to bring supplies." When Cardi arrived at the orphanage, the heat was suffocating. The humidity of Lagos made the small building feel even more cramped. The walls were cracked, water dripped from the ceiling, but the children's smiles were bright. Cardi brought 50 large boxes: diapers, formula, rice, beans, water filters, medicine, toys, clothes. As her team unloaded the boxes, children surrounded her with curiosity. "Are you a queen?" asked a little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old. Cardi laughed. "No, baby. I'm just someone who wants to help." The orphanage director, Fadika, took Cardi inside. "We're so grateful. These supplies, this will last us months." But Cardi didn't want to just drop off supplies and leave. "Can I spend time with the kids?" Fadek's eyes widened. "Of course. They would love that." Cardi spent hours with the children. She played with them, sang songs, told stories. And then she was taken to the baby room. There were 15 babies. Some were months old, some under a year. They were all lying down, but one was crying. Cardi approached. The baby was maybe 6 months old, tiny, thin, with big brown eyes. Cardi reached out and picked her up. The baby stopped crying and looked into Cardi's face. And in that moment, Cardi broke. Tears flowed uncontrollably. Because looking at that baby, she saw Kulture. She saw Wave. And she thought, this baby is innocent. She didn't do anything. But she started life under these conditions. Fadeke came over. Her name is Amara. It means grace in Igbo. Cardi didn't want to put the baby down. She held her for a long time, kissed her, whispered, "You deserve everything, baby, everything." And then she turned to Fadek. "I want to do more. I want to sponsor this place, monthly. I want these kids to have food, clean water, education." Fadeka's eyes filled with tears. You mean it?" "I mean it. I'll send my team. We'll set it up. But I have one condition. Anything. No press, no announcement. This is between me and these kids." When Cardi returned to New York, she was different. Kulture looked at her mother's face. "Mommy, why you sad?" Cardi sat down and pulled her daughter onto her lap. "Baby, Mommy went to a place where kids don't have mommies and daddies, and it made me sad." Kulture thought about it. "Can we help them?" Cardi smiled. "We are, baby. We are." That night, Cardi wrote in her journal, later revealed diary entries. "I don't know if I'm doing enough. I don't know if any of this matters in the big picture. But I know one thing. That woman in the Bronx, she gave me her blanket when she had nothing. Amara looked at me with those eyes, and I saw hope. I can't save the world, but I can save a few. And maybe that's enough." After 2019, Cardi B returned to the Bronx at least once every year, each time a different location. Sometimes Grand Concourse, sometimes Tremont Avenue. Always the same format. Secret. No cameras. No posts. When the pandemic hit in 2020, Cardi's team distributed 5,000 hygiene kits, masks, and gloves. Cardi personally visited hospitals and sent coffee and meals to healthcare workers. In 2021, when the massive apartment fire happened in the Bronx and 17 people died, Cardi quietly paid for all the funeral expenses. When the media found out, Cardi didn't comment. She only wrote one sentence on her Instagram story: "Bronx is my heart. Always." In 2022, she donated $100,000 to her old middle school, IS 232. Surprise visit, talking with students, teachers crying. "This school saved me from the streets," Cardi had said. "Now I want to save it for the next generation." And every year, quietly, she sent monthly donations to Hope for Tomorrow Orphanage. Fadeka sent thank you messages every month. Cardi wrote the same thing every time. "How's Amara?" Amara was growing. By 2024, she turned 4. Healthy, happy, started school. Fadeka sent photos. Cardi keeps those photos on her phone and looks at them on hard days. In a 2023 interview on The Breakfast Club, the host asked, "You do a lot of charity, but you don't post about it. Why?" Cardi paused. "Because it's not about me. When you post, people think you're doing it for likes. But I do it because I remember. I remember being cold. I remember being scared. I remember that lady who gave me her blanket. She didn't ask for credit. She just did it." "And another thing," she continued, "when you help someone and you post it, you're taking their dignity. You're making them a prop in your story. But they got their own story. They don't need to be the homeless person Cardi helped. They just need the help." This philosophy is the foundation of all Cardi's charity work. No cameras, no social media, no ego. Just help. November 2024, Cardi flew back to Lagos. This time she brought Kulture and Wave with her. "I want you to see," she told her children. "I want you to understand how lucky you are. And I want you to learn how to give." When they arrived at the orphanage, Amara was waiting at the door. Fadek had told her, "Auntie Cardi is coming." The moment Cardi saw Amara, she ran and dropped to her knees. "Hi, baby." Amara was shy. "Hi, Auntie." Cardi couldn't hold back her tears. "You're so big now. So beautiful." Kulture came over to her mother. "Mommy, who is she?" Cardi looked at Kulture. "This is Amara. She's very special to me." That day, Cardi spent time at the orphanage with her children. Kulture played with Amara. Wave interacted with the other babies. And Cardi talked with Fedeka. Fedeka, I've been thinking. I want to do more. I want to build a new wing. More beds, better facilities. What do you need? Fedeka cried. Cardi, you've already done so much. But I can do more, and I will. That evening, as they were leaving the orphanage, Amara held Cardi's hand. Auntie, will you come back? Cardi knelt down and kissed Amara. Always, baby. I promise. And as the car drove away, Kulture asked her mother, Mommy, can we help more kids like Amara? Cardi smiled. Yes, baby, we can. And we will. Today, Cardi B's silent acts of charity continue. The coats in the Bronx, the orphanage in Nigeria, the scholarship program at her old school, the funeral expenses for fire victims. None of them are big media headlines. None of them are viral moments. But all of them are real. And perhaps most importantly, Kulture and Wave are growing up and following their mother's path. In 2024, at her own birthday party, Kulture said, instead of gifts, can we give to kids who don't have? In that moment, Cardi knew it was all worth it. Because legacy isn't just about money. It's not just about fame. Legacy is the values you teach the next generation. And Cardi B is teaching her children the most valuable thing: empathy. On that cold January night in 2019, on the streets of the Bronx, nobody recognized Cardi B. But that woman told her something. You got kind eyes. And Cardi keeps looking at the world through those eyes. Without cameras. Quietly. Genuinely. Because real heroism isn't about getting applause. It's about touching someone's life. And Cardi B touches another life every single day. Maybe today, you can touch someone too. A small gesture, a blanket, a smile, a promise. Because remember, that woman gave Cardi her blanket. And Cardi turned that blanket into the world. What will you turn into the world?